Hey friends, before we get into this vlog, in case you have not heard and you have not seen the announcement, I don't want you to miss my next virtual workshop. It's Canning 101 for beginners. So if you have never canned, but you want to know how to do it safely in your own kitchen, then you want to sign up for this workshop. I'm going to be covering water bath canning, which is the easiest and usually the first step to canning that you're going to do. If you want to know how to do pressure canning, I will be doing that class in December. But if you don't know how to can at all, I suggest you start with this class, water bath canning. It is Sunday, November the 10th from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time, virtual online. You can grab a spot. It is $60 and that's going to cover the full class. I will be live in my kitchen showing you how to can. I'm going to give you canning recipes. I'm going to give you a canning digital guide and you're going to get the full replay. Just so if you love my channel, you're going to love my teaching, you're going to love my workshop. So I want to see you in the workshop. Now, let's go watch this vlog as we do a garden tour of October so you can see what the fall garden is looking like. Hey everybody, welcome to my tunnel, welcome to my garden. Thank you so much for stopping by. If you are brand new here, my name is Barbara. I live in Tennessee in Zone 7B, and I'm so glad that you stopped by my high tunnel today. You saw that I came out here and I've just uncovered the raised beds. Look at all of this lusciousness behind me. Oh my goodness, friends. It's looking good. It is looking good. So we are in the very last week of October. Most of these things were planted, I want to say, beginning of September. So we have some stuff that is ready to harvest. So we're going to do our first full fall harvest today. Again, it won't be everything, just the stuff that is ready. So the things that we have ready are lettuce, kale, cilantro, bok choy, and I think I see some arugula that's ready, as well as we may have some radishes. The things that are still percolating are cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, collards, and things like that. So that takes a little bit longer. But the only thing that we've harvested so far this fall has been our lettuce, and then I harvested a couple of bok choy to take in the house for dinner. That's really been about it. So this will probably be the first of many fall harvests. And I'm so excited because so far things have been going really, really well. So if you are new to my channel this is your first video, I want to just welcome you and thank you so much for stopping by. Let me tell you a little bit about what we have going on here. So we have 3 main growing spaces on our property, and right now I'm in the high tunnel. This is what we use for for all of fall and winter. We don't grow in any other space for fall and winter, except for we do have raised beds behind our house, and that is where our garlic is. But other than that, everything is primarily here. We're able to produce enough food for our family for the fall and for the winter. But when the summertime comes, we use this space, the space behind my house, and then we also have an in-ground garden as well. That's 4,000 square feet that we do summer planting in, but summer planting only. So I'm excited today. I also have an order to fill, and I have not been in here. I want to say it's been a week. I think it's been a week. So me seeing the growth, like in a week, I'm like, man, a lot happens in a week. And that's one thing with when it comes to the fall and winter garden, and I'm still adjusting, like there's just not as much to do as when it comes time for the summer. Now, I was out of town this week for 3 days, so that's part of the reason why I hadn't been out here. But even when I got back in town, I haven't been out here. So it's been a week and things are just fine. I came down here, I try to water really thoroughly with the hose pipe once a week, and I try to fertilize once a week before the temperatures get too cold. But everything inside the beds are on drip irrigation, so they're getting water. Everything in the ground that you see back there that's still covered, it is getting water. And so the only thing that really needs to be watered are the plants that are in like the container pots, and that's about in the circular raised beds that you'll see when we get there. But other than that, it's pretty much, maintaining on its own. We do have some things to put in the ground today because we are still trying to fill up every space, every space. But first, let's go ahead and water and then we'll go ahead and harvest the things that I need for the order, and then we'll just see what else we have left to harvest after that. Okay, so quick change. I think what we're gonna do, so I've watered the raised beds. I'm gonna uncover the other stuff because I think what I'm gonna do, I just realized I need to give you an October fall garden tour. So we have not done that this month. So let's do that. Let me give you a tour, and then we can still do the other stuff that we're going to do anyway. The only bed I didn't water was the bed with the carrots and the radishes, just because once I water it, it all lays down. I want you to see it in all its glory. So I'll water that last. But let's start at the top with the raised beds, and let me show you how things are doing. This is the last week of October in Tennessee in Zone 7B. This is what your stuff should be looking like, or maybe better than this, but this is what you can have growing in your garden at this time of the year. So let's take a look at the fall garden. So bed one, all on the left hand side, these are Brussels sprouts. Y'all, my Brussels sprouts have never looked this good. They look great, and I know it's because they have been covered. Now, Brussels sprouts take a long time to grow, so I'll come back and talk about that. But then on this side right here, we have some buncheon onions interplanted in between each rows of the bok choy, and then also back there we have some spinach that we put in the ground last week. So overall, this bed looks great. So when it comes to bok choy, bok choy has a maturity date of 100 to 120 days. So it takes a long time. So obviously we don't see the Brussels forming yet, but the leaves and the plant is growing great, and it looks good so far. When it comes to Brussels sprouts, ideally you want to start, if you're starting your own seeds, you want to start your seeds in like July. Now I did not do that because I have a high tunnel, so I did not start my seeds until August because I know that I'll have time to grow them. But if you were growing outside, if you wanted to kind of get Brussels sprouts before it gets too harsh of a winter, depending on what area you're in, then you would have tried to start your seeds in July so that you have time to harvest them before it gets too cold. But for me, it'll be good because I'm in the high tunnel. But they look really, really good. But it'll be a while before we can harvest Brussels sprouts. I'm thinking, I think I have to go back and look on my planting calendar to see when I planted the Brussels sprouts. I want to say I planted them sometime in August. So it may be the end of the year, like in December, before we actually have Brussels sprouts, or January. Who knows? We'll see. But this bed is looking really, really good. Let me take you over to the next bed. This bed is full of lettuce. You can see it's kind of laying down because I've already watered it. But it's full of lettuce on the right-hand side. And then in the middle is red cabbage. And on the far left is green cabbage. And then that's my lemon balm in that pot there. But let me give you a closer look to see how the cabbage is doing. The leaves look good and big. You can see there's already some little curling or forming right there. I've never grown red cabbage before, so this is my first time. I've grown plenty of green cabbage. This point in the season, it looks pretty good. You can see I have a little bit of insect damage right in here. Oh, there's the guy. There's a little culprit right there. So let's get him off of there. Okay, but overall, you can see this bed is looking very, very good. Now, this next bed is our cauliflower bed, and again, cauliflower can take about 100 days or so. This here, you can see this is what I planted at first, and then this is what I planted second, so it's a little bit behind. And then back here are just some snapdragons that we grew from seed that's just lining the back. So it'll be a while for the cauliflower before we can harvest that, but it's doing good so far. And this circular raised bed, we have sage here, some cilantro, oregano, and I think that's a snapdragon right there that I planted. And then that Dusty Miller has been there for like 2 years. It does fine in the winter, and it's just for aesthetics. Then we come over here. This is all comfrey in this bed. As you can see, it is still doing fantastic. It is massive. Then this bed here is our bok choy. For the most part, it looks absolutely gorgeous. Some back there has a few things of insect damage. I left it off one day and I see the culprit. I see a culprit right in there. probably can't see it, but I can. But you can see I have a few holes there, but for the most part, they all look pretty good. And then this is arugula. I've never ever grown arugula. This is my first time growing arugula, so we're going to try it. And then back here is lavender and rosemary. I have some lemon thyme here that it's doing okay, but not the best. And I'm not really sure why. It still smells amazing, but a lot of it is getting dead. So I'm not sure why. Maybe I'll move over here to the other herb thing and see if it helps out with this. I wanted to show you, look at this bok choy that we planted together last week. You can see that it looks good. Remember, it did not look good when we planted it. So when we planted it last week, remember, those were the seedlings that I have had literally for like 2 months that were sitting on my table that desperately needed to go out. They were yellow, purple, every other color. But you can see they've been in the ground for a week and they are doing just fine. They weren't dead, so we put them in some good soil and they are doing good. So I'm glad about that. Let me show you these last 2 raised beds. Okay, this is the bed of our carrots. Y'all, these carrots, I mean, it's like they just shot up like overnight, literally. They were not this high and this tall. When we were out here watering, they were certainly not this tall. But look at them now. And then look at this bed here with our kale and lettuce and cilantro. So the things that we need to harvest first are in these 6 raised beds. So let's go ahead and harvest this stuff and then we'll get to the stuff that's in ground. So we're gonna get some bok choy out of the ground. It pulls up pretty easily. I'm just gonna cut that root off and I'll just let that root part like decompose back in the ground. But you can see what it looks like. I guess I could have just cut it at the soil level, but same difference. We're gonna harvest about 3 or 4 of these. That's 3. That's 4. This is a small one, so we'll say these together make 4. And you can see I still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 still ready to go. Now we're going to harvest arugula for the first time. I'm not a fan of arugula because it has like that spicy kick like ginger. Y'all know I don't like that, but it's so good for you. And I've never grown it before, so I thought this is just an experiment to see if I like it. I know that people put it on pizza, mix it in with their salad greens, sandwiches. So basically, I want to see, is it as spicy as it is with me growing it myself? I don't know why it wouldn't be, but hey, it was something for me to do. So I'm just gonna get this little small handful, and that's probably more than what I wanted to get. I can smell it. It smells like, it doesn't smell like traditional lettuce. Like it has a smell, like almost like I can smell the bite. But so now I think I'm gonna try to harvest some radishes because I see it basically sticking up out of the ground. Look at that. This is my first time growing it. This is a daikon radish. I think it's supposed to be bigger than that though. I know it's supposed to be this like cylinder shape, but it was sitting on top of the ground, so we're gonna get it. Let's see what else is out here. Let me know if you've done the daikon radishes before. I see some more like coming out of the ground, but they're real skinny. So I'm pretty sure they're not ready yet. So that's what it looks like. But I think they're supposed to be like fatter and rounder based on the pictures. So I'm assuming it's edible. I'll look it up and see. But right now we're going to stop there and just get those two. We're going to move on now to the kale because we know for a fact that the kale is ready. Okay, y'all, I have 4 baskets. I got a basket of kale and radish, a basket of lettuce, a basket of bok choy, a basket of cilantro, and, arugula in a bag. So that is all of it right there. I will try to lift it at the end and see if I can give you a good, well, let me see if I can do that now. This is a basket full of kale, and then poking out of the 2 radishes that we got. So I just stopped. There's plenty more to get. I just stopped because I'm only getting enough that I can eat fresh this week and not have to store a lot in my freezer just because my freezer is full. Then same thing, a thing of lettuce. So there will definitely be salads on the list for this week. So a basket full of lettuce. I got a bucket full of cilantro. There is plenty more to get, but half of this is for order. It smells so good. And then you guys saw the bok choy and the arugula we got. So if this is any indication of how the following one is going to go, I am here for it. So let me cover this stuff back up. Let me try to uncover this other stuff so that you can see a full garden tour, so you can see how the stuff in ground is doing as well. Okay, this first row here at the beginning is bok choy from the, again, seedlings that were like 2 months old that we planted in the ground. These we planted 2 weeks ago. And as you can see, they look great. They look great. I've never grown bok choy in the ground. This is my first time, but it looks like it's taken off doing just fine. And then this row here, beside it is our kale. The kale is looking good. No issues with that. And that's kale pretty much all the way down the row. And then this third row over here are our collard greens. So these are our collard greens, for the most part, looking good all the way down the aisle. You can see how that kale looks under there. But yeah, the collards are looking good. As we start to get more down here, they are full. Not very much insect damage. I see a little bit like right there, but for the most part, this row, outside of this one, there's a little bit there. For the most part, they look good and they are growing. They could be harvested now, but I like to wait until the first frost to harvest the first set of collard greens, just because they're going to taste much better. You can see we have more collards here. This is the row beside it. I'm trying to come from both ends and undo the cover, but the middle, I'm going to have to leave the way it is because it's too hard for me to get it back, and I'm going to lose daylight. This cover you can actually see through. You can see that one got totally eaten up, but that's before the cover got on there. I just left that in there so if they want to come back and nibble that and leave the rest of this alone, which this part is looking good. So let's go over to the other side. And as you can see, this year we're using sandbags primarily to hold the covers down. It's our first time doing that. It's working out great. These are broccoli, if I'm not mistaken. Good. No forming yet, but overall good. There's some insect damage there. And as I keep going up, you'll see more insect damage. But I'm just gonna let it be because I think the broccoli will still grow. For now, I'm just gonna let it be like that. One is pretty bad. but I'm gonna let it be and see what happens. That is a cabbage that we just planted. That's another broccoli. And then up here are Brussels sprouts, and they're looking good. Then one more row over here. You can see that looks good, forming good there. This plant, this is a cauliflower, and you can see the insects got to that one. It's amazing how they're on some, but not all. I need to spray some BT, but I don't have any but a concentrate, so I'm gonna have to mix it with water. So I'm gonna have to do that tomorrow. And then the rest of this row is the last thing that has not been planted that we still need to plant. Okay, y'all, so that is the October fall garden tour. I'm pretty pleased. Again, it's not 100% perfect, but it is looking really, really good. I would say it's 90% no damage, growing very well. There's probably 10%, and 10% may even be a stretch, of things that have insect damage, but it has not destroyed the plant. The plant is still there. So we're going to see what happens. So I'm pretty pleased. I'm grateful. I know that the covers and the hoops have done what they're supposed to do. And they have helped out a ton. Had this stuff not been covered, it would not look this good. So again, that is the difference when you're doing your fall and winter gardening. The covers and the hoops make a huge difference if you want to have an abundant fall and winter garden, because when it's hot outside in the summer, temperatures are still here. The insects are still out, as you can see. We just picked off like 2 or 3 insects. They're still here. Now, I will keep this covered until it starts to get consistently cold. So if I had to guess, probably another 2 to 3 weeks. And then from there, I'll take the covers off unless it gets like to, freezing temperatures. Then of course we will put a frost cover on. This is more of an insect cover. It is Agribon 19, and my frost cover that I will use is Agribon 30. So it's a little bit heavier weight, but I'll keep this on here until I am for sure that most of the insects are gone. Now, it's not going to be 100%, but if you want to know how long I'm gonna keep it on here, it's gonna be a 2-3 more weeks. So we also harvested for our order. We also harvested for the house. So on the menu this week, we got to eat some kale and we got to eat some lettuce, some salad for sure, so that we can eat what we're growing and keep it coming, and make sure that it does not go to waste. Thank you guys for joining me on this journey today of our garden tour at the end of October, and then also doing our first fall harvest. Thank you so much for joining me. If you have not subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to subscribe. Also stay tuned, because I've been talking about, I'm going to be doing a beginner garden series. That series is going to start in the next week or so. So pay attention to the YouTube. Again, if you are a brand new gardener and you're just getting your hands wet, but you really want to make a bang for your next summer garden and know exactly what to do, then you're going to want to catch out this series. It is designed for the beginner. I'm going to go from step 0 all the way to get you to having an abundant garden. So it's going to be very, when I say elementary, like I'm going to cover the basics. If you're already past that, no worries. Share it with a friend, share it with a neighbor. But that beginner garden series is going to start in November. It'll be a series of videos that I will do every week. Probably I will do it air it on Fridays for the month of November is the way it's looking right now. Also, if you have not signed up for my canning class, make sure that you do that. My canning workshop is November the 10th. On a Sunday from 2 to 4, completely online, completely virtual. Make sure that you sign up at the link in my bio. Until next time, remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.